Hello, fellow starlings, and how are we doing this fine and bushy-eyed and bright morning? Bright-tailed morning? Bushy-eyed and bright-tailed and bushy-eyed. It is I, Vi, the Abysmal Witch, coming to you with A, which is perspective, which is to say, but one witch, for that is me. I am a witch, one witch, not all witches, and therefore what I have to say is my perspective and not the perspective of all that be. Oh, that was quick. Good. Out of the way. What are we talking about today? Well, if you are following along in order, you might be able to guess, because last episode we were talking about forgiving and my kind of take on that, and my difficulties of getting takes on that, and thus the journey thus taken to figure out what the hell does forgiveness mean, and how do I relate to it, and can I do it, and how does that even work? How? Well, hopefully it made a little bit of sense what I went through last time. So if you're thinking about it, I'm saying it's a partnership or a paired episode, what could it be? Well, when we are told many times that we need to forgive and forget. That's right, we are talking about forgetting in the sense of forgive and forget. Though also, I guess, a little bit into forgetting that is not about amnesia in some story that's very so convenient that the person cannot remember their history, and creating thus the conflict that will lead us on for the next hour and whatever, or through 100 and whatever pages, only to discover that it was all a lie and it was just a ruse to fool us. Anyhow, forgetting. So this time around I did manage to look up the prefix for FR from the forgive and forget. And the part I liked best, now that I'm not a linguist, okay, I'm pulling off the internet, it could be wrong, but it works for this, so let's just ride with that. And that for is to essentially release, to let go of. So with forgive, we're releasing or let going of what should be given. And then with forget, we are releasing what we received. So not what we are owed, but what we received. Which, when you think about it, totally makes sense. Like this might be a short episode, because this one, I get this. So can we talk about it in a coherent fashion? You will see. So when we are, and let's face it, when we're talking about forgiving and forgetting, we're talking about somebody doing us wrong. I kind of feel like I should go country and western song there, but the essence, either way, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be country and western in order to get it across. That we've been harmed. We have had negative impact from someone, and thus we feel that we are owed and that we have been impacted, right? And thus people tell you, forgive and forget. In other words, get over it and let it go. The let it go is the forgive. The get over it is the forget. Because when we have been hurt by someone, that's really what we're talking about, harm, being hurt, and we have experienced the negatives, we are impacted by that. We are changed by it. We are changed by everything. Every life experience adds, subtracts, shifts, changes our perspective, our depending on what happens, it can change our physiology. Many things do. It doesn't have to be actual physical touch or anything. Our physiology includes our nervous system, which is reacting constantly to the environment that we are in. So when we are hurt, when harm is done, we are negatively impacted by someone, and there is that imprint or impact left within our systems. And that could be our body systems, our emotional systems, our arcane systems. All of those are impacted by that experience. Depending on what the experience is, different things to various amounts. It's like getting hit by a baseball. I've been hit by so many different sports-ish balls over the years. Oh my God, elementary school. I mean, there was more than one soccer ball, I am certain. There has been a baseball. Ow. There was a pool ball. You know, like an 8-ball, except I don't think it was an 8. Those motherfuckers are hard-ass evil pieces of... You know what? The only time that my 1 year's worth of karate actually came into play was we were playing pool, and I don't think I even consciously registered the fact that suddenly there is a ball, a pool, you know, ball, hard ceramic-y like thing, flying at me, and my arm... was my left arm. I remember the after, you know, not the moment of the ball flying, but kind of that moment as my arm came up, left arm, and did a classic karate block, and actually blocked the ball. It was miraculous. You know, the one and only time I have used any martial arts, and I only did it for a year because I have issues. And wow, still so many balls over my lifetime. Why do things keep hitting me? I'm a special child. But when, you know, say for example, you get hit by something, right? And if in the nervous system work, there's often talk about uncompleted or incomplete actions. If I hadn't managed to block that ball and it had hit me, I could have ended up with like a twitch that was like an underlying somatic replay of that situation that's not getting resolved. And so because I was not able to protect myself in the moment, I never resolved it afterwards, because we don't deal with our shit in any way, shape, or form, no matter what level it's on, it seems like. It keeps the body is holding on to that until it's able to process that implicit memory. So that is an example of how we receive, you know, and technically I could have forgotten the incident in what I'm describing, right? Like if I had that little flinch of, don't get hit. And if you're listening to this is me twitching my head to the right just to go, don't hit me. So when we talk about forgetting, we tend to think about the mental cognition of that, like just forget the mental part, the act, the moment. There are so many things that I don't remember. For a moment there, I wanted to go into I do think that we tend to retain ever so much more information. It's our ability to recall it that's in question rather than actually the retaining, but neither here nor there for this conversation. Well, a little bit, but not enough to make it worthwhile to go into. So, in this example, you know, I received a hurt, a harm. Let's assume that the ball, I did not block it, and I now have this twitch. That is something that I have received. I got it. It has left, the experience has left an imprint in my system such that I am continuing to react as if it is real, as if it is something that could still be there and harmful and dangerous for me. This is what happens when we have negative relationship experiences. You know, your heart gets broken, and it's so very hard to go back into a different relationship, let alone the same one. Let's not go there. And be able to go into it with a clear and open heart, released of all of those hurts from the previous relationship that linger, because those impacts, those hurts, those bruises, those damage, those scars are there and are real. So we act and react as if they are real in the moment. Now, they are real scars, but they are not necessarily real happenings in the moment. That's when things get really messy, right? When we are still bound up in those reactions to previous traumas, then we react to the current moment and the current situation, the current person, from that traumatized place, which may have absolutely no relation or bearing to the current situation. That's when it's a problem. You know, when we have learned things from our past that we use to keep ourselves safe in the present and the future, that can be really useful. But when it controls us, when we are not making choices, but are simply reacting to things that are not real in the moment. They were real before. I'm not saying they weren't real before. I'm saying in this moment, it would be, anyone who's been in an abusive relationship, and then you go into what ideally is a healthier one, and there can be moments where there is not anything the other person is really doing that is harmful, but something triggers that traumatized memory, and then we are spiraling and reacting to the previous trauma, not to the person in front of us. That is that we have definitely not forgotten what had happened. Again, I don't mean in a cognitive sense, because it's pretty easy to blank out trauma from the not your implicit memories, but it's not explicit memories, maybe it is, but the things that we consciously remember, not the things that are in the body or that are routine or that are habit, but the almost story-like memories where we remember the things that happened in order. We may not remember that at all. We may be like, I don't remember ever getting hit by a pool ball. Other people there witnessed it and went, oh no, you were hit. That happened. That was real. But you don't. But just because you don't cognitively remember, your brain doesn't hold the story of it in a way that you can access, does not mean that it isn't still inside you, that it isn't still something having impact inside of you. And that's what we got from the incident. And that's what we're trying to release. When we forget, we are releasing that impact. We are releasing essentially the changes that were caused as a result of what had happened, as a result of the trauma. So, with that, there's some, do we even want to forget? To some degree, because there are, and this is where I think completely forgetting is kind of, sometimes sure, it makes sense. But I think a lot of times with trauma, I don't want to completely forget. I don't want to be, and in some ways you can't. The scars are so deep that the impact cannot be released completely. It has forever changed me, has forever changed you, has forever changed us. We can release a goodly amount of it and forget a fair amount. And that is a gift that, when we're ready, can be a great one to give ourselves. It's not about a gift to the other person that I am forgetting what you did. It is I am letting go of the impact of what you did so that I can live my life more completely, more fully, more authentically, and without the trauma and without the fear binding me in ways that limit my living to something less than what I deserve. I do like it when I'm recording, because sometimes I say things that I know are pretty decent, and it's nice to have them recorded because I cannot do them again. So that for me is forgetting. And when we talk about forgive and forget, oh my goodness, just forgive and forget. Get over it, let it go. Forgive and forget. So the harm that was done to me, you want me to release the debt that is owed to me, because there is, and you want me to wash away the impact that it has on me and behave as if nothing has happened, because that's really what it says when we use it in modern parley. Is we want it to be as if this never happened. And if you truly forgive and forget, then yes, it will be as if it never happened, because you've gone, okay, the debts, there is no debt, and I'm releasing, I've truly managed to release the impact that it has had on me. But there is an additional component, and that is we're not stupid, just because I am, there's other components in this, right? The trust. Just because I have forgiven and forgotten, it will elevate trust back, but I'm still, I feel like the extent of the forgetting would have to be more than most people would put in order for a relationship to go cleanly back. Because we are not an Etch-a-Sketch. You can't turn us over, shake us a little bit, and go, see, everything is fine. Unless, of course, you've been watching Westworld and people getting their brains wiped and things like that. Also thinking of Dollhouse for a moment. Doesn't matter. We are not an Etch-a-Sketch. We do not clear our brains that way. We can forget a fair amount, and I think we are forever changed as well by the circumstances. And maybe it's only a small amount. Maybe it's darn near negligible. But it's like we can't go back into the past. We can't return to where we've been, because we live in linear time, which is always moving us forward, and we will never be the person that we were a moment ago, because that moment is now gone. So the forgive and forget is really other people saying, I'm tired of dealing with this and dealing with you and your emotions or your experiences, and I don't want that anymore. You can tell why I probably get a little grumpy on the forgive and forget. Now, in that style of forgive and forget, fuck them. But there is a style of forgive and forget that I hope maybe is murmuring to you through these 2 episodes, which is the gift we give ourselves when we forgive and forget. Heck, don't even have to tell the other person necessarily, right? Well, maybe you do. That depends on you. But it's about, where do we want to live? Do we want to live with that trauma, that hurt, residing in us front and center, or at least pretty darn present so much of the time that it does have great impact on how we live and how we engage with the world? Or do we want to move through the processes of healing so that we can let it go, so that we can release what is owed and release what we received and learn from it and actually move on, right? That to me is what real forgiving and forgetting is about. And no one can tell you to do it. No one can say, this is what you need to do. I mean, I'll say it's a really healthy thing to do, but whether or not you want to do it, totally up to you. And the time will either come or it won't, because that is about what you need in order to live life in a way that's working for you. And sometimes we are just in too difficult of a place. There's too much. We don't have the safety and we can't process. And so here we are. And it is what it is. Is it unfortunate? Hell yeah. It's unfortunate we got hurt in the first place. It's unfortunate that we're not able to actually maneuver it through and be able to get to those places of release. Fucking sucks. But at the same time, if that's what we need in order to have that sense of safety, to be able to manage to get through our life, then that's what we need. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. So if you are looking to forgive or forget then I wish you all the best blessings with that. I hope that this brings you a little bit of potential clarity and maybe even some suggestions on little sneaky pathways that could work for you. And if you're not, that's all okay too. I hope you've had a good time. I know that I have. I wish you all the very best in this day and or night, depending on where you are, as you listen and or watch this. Take great care of yourselves. Bless me.